All right, so welcome to self-sabotaging behaviors and their impact on success. I like thinking, understanding that we're human. So, what are self-sabotaging behaviors? Self-sabotaging behaviors are the actions or thought patterns that really undermine our own success, often even without us realizing it. Now, these behaviors are typically rooted in fear or the lack of confidence or negative belief about ourselves and our abilities. At the core, they create these barriers or boundaries to stop us from actually achieving our personal goals or expanding our full potential. Now, these behaviors can show up in so many ways. And I like thinking that they're just there simply to protect us, right? But it shows up like number one, procrastination. So we might put off tasks that even though we know they are important, we just don't get to them. You might have perfectionism, which is overanalyzing every single detail and leading to delaying your action, or you avoid a task, or you sit on it for way too long. Maybe you've got avoiding accountability, which is not taking full responsibilities for an outcome or your contribution to a challenging outcome. Self-doubt, so you consistently think, oh, I'm not good enough, so I'm gonna fail, or it's that negative self-talk, which leads us right into that one, criticizing yourself, focusing on your shortcomings rather than your strength. And did you know that that's that inner critic or narrative that then drives all the self-sabotaging behaviors we have? Now, how do these impact you and your success? Well, self-sabotaging behaviors can significantly impact your ability to perform at your best. In a sales environment, these behaviors can actually prevent you from achieving your targets, building meaningful relationships with clients, your peers, or even advancing your career. Here's a few ways that you could be self-sabotaging. The first one is reducing your performance. When you procrastinate or avoid accountability, or you really struggle to deliver your best work, it impacts both your personal success because you're not going to achieve your targets, as well as your team results. You might miss opportunities. And I saw this happen a while back with somebody that I was supporting. And I could see it happen right in front of me, the missed opportunity. But it doesn't help somebody else sees it. I've got to learn how to see it. But here's what it could do. You could miss an opportunity. You could fear failure or self-doubt, and that might cause you to hesitate when an opportunity sits right in front of you. You might not want to take the risk, ask for the business, close a deal, because you're afraid of rejection. How about some stunted growth? If you avoid feedback or consistently second-guess your abilities, it might become difficult for you to actually learn from your experiences or improve over time. Because you're resistant, learning might make a feeling for you or feel for you that you're not good enough. Inconsistent results, when you're constantly battling negative thought patterns or trying to be perfect, your actions become erratic. This inconsistency really prevents you from reaching your full potential. Now, the impact on your team environment. Self-sabotaging behaviors can impact your individual success as well as impact the team dynamics. When somebody like in a team engages in self-sabotaging behaviors, it actually creates a ripple across that team's performance, how they come together, and their morale. Now, self-sabotaging can influence the team, so there could be a lack of accountability. If one team member avoids responsibility for their actions or outcomes, it sets a precedent for the rest of the team. This can lower the overall team accountability and performance. Poor collaboration. Self-doubt or fear of failure can make it really hard to collaborate effectively. If you're worried about making mistakes or about being judged, you might not share your ideas, offer help to others, or even ask for help when needed. Team tension is another one. One person might consistently undermine their own success, and it can create tension within the team, which sometimes leaves us frustrated, especially if we're working really hard to achieve our collective goals while one person is holding us back. Now, stagnation, which is self-sabotage, and this leads to a stagnation of the team. So that self-sabotage in the team can lead to real inconsistent effort, and it stops our team from growth and momentum. If some team members are not fully invested or even self-aware, the progress of the team's growth is stalled. So the importance of being self-aware is incredibly important for yourself as well as for your team. Now, self-awareness is that first step of breaking that cycle of self-sabotaging behaviors. Without it, you're likely going to continue falling into the same negative patterns without recognizing the consequences. Self-awareness also means that you understand your thoughts, your emotions, and the behaviors that impact your performance, as well as your team's success. It's about recognizing when you're engaging in self-sabotage and being honest about why it's happening. Some benefits of self-awareness is improved decision-making. So when you're aware of your behaviors and your thought patterns, you can make better decisions. You'll know when you're procrastinating or second-guessing yourself. You can take proactive steps to overcome it. Greater self-control. When I'm more self-aware, it actually gives me the power to take better control or greater control of my actions. And I actually can stop that behavior from holding me back. Increased confidence. I can acknowledge and address self-sabotaging tendencies, and I will actually feel more confident in my abilities and my decisions. Stronger relationships is probably the last one, and probably one of the most important for teaming. Is I can become more self-aware with myself. I can recognize how my actions impact and affect others. It's about improving my communication, my collaboration with my team, and actually making it easier to build trust and a positive culture. Now, developing self-awareness and overcoming self-sabotage is a key skill set for anyone in a team. And actually, if you want to develop into a leader, so important. Once you understand what self-sabotage is and how it impacts both your success and your team, the next stage is to develop some strategies to help you overcome these behaviors. I'm going to give you 6. So the first one is to reflect regularly. So what does that mean? Well, I sit and I think about, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What was hard? What can I do differently tomorrow? And I start taking time each day or week to really reflect on my actions and my behaviors. I start looking for feedback. I start asking for feedback from colleagues and managers. And I don't poo-poo their feedback going, oh, that's just because they don't like me. I actually start listening for the golden threads in their feedback that is possibly something I really need to work on. I had someone say to me quite a few years back that they got feedback from their manager, and it was the same feedback they got when they were in kindergarten, and they've just never changed. It just is who they are. It might be how they have learned to show up, because when they show up that way, they feel safe. But that feedback that was honestly delivered is a consistency that they can start looking into and choosing to offload the self-protection they have, which is their self-sabotage. Challenging negative thoughts. Well, negative self-talk is what actually makes me pop out and self-sabotage. It's when I doubt my abilities. I need to pause and reframe and say to myself, you know what? That is not the truth. I need to instead focus on my strengths and my past successes. And I need to really be generous with myself. We need to set some good goals, break my larger objectives into smaller ones and make it more manageable for myself. This will reduce the overwhelm, fear, anxiety, and then stop me from procrastinating. I love number 5, which is practicing self-compassion. I don't think as human beings we're really good at that. I think we've taught how to be hard on ourselves. But when we do that, we're so hard on ourselves when we've made a mistake. We don't learn from them. And then it defines our future actions. Now, what we've got to learn to do is practice being kind to ourselves, just as we would with a colleague or a teammate. We've got to learn how to take responsibility for our own actions and outcomes, both good and bad. This is that sense of accountability that is so crucial, because when we start owning and accepting, we can release and move through it and then start building new neural pathways and new actions. So in conclusion, our self-sabotaging behaviors hold us back from achieving really our best and full potential. if it be in my individual capacity building, which is my growth, or as a team. When I can become more self-aware, I can identify and overcome these behaviors, and I can really recognize where I'm holding myself back. And I can shift that power struggle from holding me back, making me fearful, to positive flow state. By doing that, I'll see improvements in my own performance, and this will contribute to my team's performance. In the next step below, what I'd love you to do is to complete your self-sabotaging behavioral assessment. I'd like you to get into this, do the assessment. What it'll do, it'll generate an email, send it back to you, and in our team session, we will do a report for you based on your opportunities for growth and how to celebrate your natural successes, your natural gifts, which actually are underneath that self-sabotaging behavior. So we're going to teach you so much. I'm looking forward to having you in this session. Please click on the link below, do the assessment, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next little module, which will explain the 9 self-sabotaging personas, how they come to life, but also how they're based on your natural talents. I'll see you in the next session, and then I will see you in the workshop. I can't wait. Take care. Bye.